guys. So this reading will be for the Divine Tribesman Alliance. The first thing that I wanted to say is just that I love this collective seriously so much. This is like such an honor to be doing this work alongside you guys. Seriously, like the comments that I see and like the support in this group is like, it's amazing. It goes hand in hand with the theme of today, which is the masculine is breaking through like paradigm after paradigm. It's just that the growth is like, it's awesome to witness. So thank you guys for allowing me to be a part of that. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the work that you're doing for you. Visually, the representation of the masculines that I got for today's reading was like, one group of masculines had like mismatched tops and pants. Like they did not go well together at all. And I feel that this is a reflection of like how there needs to be some like alignment and balance of your endogenous environment in regard to your exogenous environment. In other words, like what you feel internally being reflected externally. There's still some discrepancies there. But I feel that it's being worked on either consciously or subconsciously. Because the last time that theme came up, it was more prominent. So I feel like that's improving. It's still there. So I wanted to bring it up. Another group of masculines is like realizing their power, particularly in regard to manifestation, okay? And so the visual that I got for them was like a bunch of people sitting at a red light and then coming up to the light and the light turning green and they're just like going through. And everyone else is like, what the hell? It's like you're learning how to manifest. It's still a little bit clumsy energy in that regard. Like it's like you're like, wow, I'm so powerful. Like I've realized the power that I have. I'm so powerful. I can manifest these things, but it's still a little clumsy. It's like beginner stages. Okay. So obviously the magician card is coming to mind because he's the master manifestor. So it's just like stepping into that more and more. And that's one of the other themes for this reading is like your higher self pulling you to be more in alignment every day. It's like a step-by-step process, right? Embodying that higher self energy, but I feel like you're being pushed to do so, and you're ready and willing at your own pace, right? So yeah, those were the visuals that I got for the masculines today. Some of that, like in regard to being pushed to embody your highest self energy on a daily basis, that's one of the major themes. And the other major theme for this reading is truth. Not accepting anything less than absolute truth, and almost like craving it or being almost obsessed with it. It's like your main focus, truth. Not only with self, but with your connections, regardless of what they are. It could be in any facet of your life. You're craving that. So some of my conversations with you guys over the past week have touched on those, so I get the sense you're okay in that regard. I just wanted to bring it up because those were some of the downloads that I was getting the past 2 weeks since my last collective video. But for this particularly, I wanted to focus on the less obvious themes, since those were already like kind of just discussed in the group a little bit. So the less obvious themes are about realizing your manifestation powers and like becoming better at that, and also your intentions and actions being more in alignment, so you're not like wearing mismatched clothes, so to speak. Like in other words, what you're feeling internally, like your internal processes being reflected externally to people around you. whether it be in regard to like your thoughts or emotions or just that aligning more with your actions. One of the another less obvious theme is like forgiveness, particularly for self, for things in the past, like times you may have let your boundaries slide or not held yourself in high regard. There's some kind of like an underlying theme of like self-forgiveness that's occurring right now, and that comes with more awareness, right? Or like heavy self-reflection. So that's good. Those are all, you know, steps forward, making progress. And then also I wanted to mention that just with the astrological events that have happened in the past 2 weeks since the last collective video, if you remember my last reading, I was talking a lot about like some bubbles of self-deceit that would be bursting soon, and I get the sense that they have, just as things have progressed, like coupled with the astrological events. You guys had some big realizations, and I think that's why you're kind of like stepping into your power. That was like a factor in regard to what was holding you back for more like embodying your highest self energy. So yeah, so in other words, like you have more clarity since the last collective video. Like you have a bigger sense. It may not be like totally clear, but I feel like it's more clear than it was. One of the other less obvious themes, I'm not going to touch on too much, but just is like learning how to respond instead of react. That's kind of another underlying less obvious theme. One of the side messages that I got that doesn't really have to do with this reading really, but just when you're doing this self work, right, and this going through this healing process to kind of embody your high self energy, it's like make sure that the reason that you're doing it is for you and not for anyone else, okay? Because that also kind of tied in with like the mismatched clothes in the vision of the masculines that I got. But again, it wasn't for everyone, right? So this part is just a side message. It may not resonate for all of you. It likely will not resonate for all of you, but just make sure that like your intentions in regard to like this self-actualization work is for the correct reason, which is for you. It's for you, okay? Yeah, because if it's not really genuine, okay? All right, so let's get started here. All right, so Divine Tribes. Yeah, so forward movement, integrating that shadow side for forward movement and strength. So Leo energy, okay, this is Cancer energy. But that gathering the courage and strength for that forward movement in regard to your self-actualization journey too, okay? But also how I was talking about like the group of masculines, and they're like with a bunch of people waiting at the red light, and then you come along and the light turns green and you're just like, I'm so powerful. The visions I get are so random sometimes, I swear. Yeah, this is for the healing process, the self-actualization process, okay? And there's also kind of like balancing those energies and also like, I'm so powerful. So just be cautious. It's still like a kind of like clumsy energy in regards to manifestation. But yeah, make sure that when you're going through this door to personal healing and happiness, that it's for you. That your intentions are genuine, that it's for you, simply for that reason. If it's for anything other than that reason, it's not genuine. You're going to have a difficult time getting through this door, okay? So the world and indecision. So the world card is like closing out cycles and starting new cycles. I was also talking about kind of looking at things about, see how this world is like half dark and half lit up. I feel like you're like, this is indicative of like times in the past where you may have let your boundaries slide because of like either like low sense of self-worth or settling or feeling like that's what you deserved or something like that. And I feel like you're coming out of that. Also, what I was talking about, how some of this murkiness in the past has been cleared up a little bit, okay, since the last reading. You may be making an important decision right now about what next step to take on your path, and this is a huge part of that, closing out past cycles in regard to this, okay? Again, this is kind of confirming that like side message that I was getting about, if it's not for you, you know, make sure that it's for the right reason. Make sure that your self-actualization journey and your path to healing is for the right reason, okay? Because if it's not and you're doing it for someone else or for another reason, that's something to look at. Also, how I was talking about, you know, your exogenous and endogenous environment isn't really matched at this time, okay? It's kind of like what you're showing the world versus how you're feeling internally. It's not aligned yet. And so, in other words, you're still kind of going through these like internal processes, which is totally fine. It's part of the process. It's just, you don't want to get stuck there. Okay, you don't want to get stuck there. But that's like a perfect visual representation of what I was talking about in the intro, about basically showing the world the real you, right? There's kind of a disconnect still. I feel like it's better than the last reading. One of the collectives is still there though. It's just kind of like in the background. Yeah, so happy family at the overall energy. I'm gonna hold off before commenting on that because I want to pull some more cards. I'll address it in a minute. So cleaning house, right? Getting rid of a lot of stuff from the past, either physically or emotionally, because our physical environment is a representation of our internal environment. Right, so again, that like rectifying our endogenous environment versus our exogenous environment, this is a perfect visual representation of that, like cleaning house internally, externally, so that can be more in alignment, right? And then here we have Field of Dreams. Yeah, so a lot of your manifestations are starting to hatch, either in the spiritual realm or in the physical realm. I can't quite tell from this card yet, okay? But it's like those eggs starting to hatch. So it's like, wow, I'm so powerful, right? Like my manifestation abilities are like coming to fruition. I'm so powerful. That's what I keep hearing. So I'm sorry if I keep repeating. It's just what I keep hearing in my head. You're like, wow, these eggs that I hatched or these eggs are like hatching. I'm so powerful. But then it's still like novice. It's still like a little bit clumsy, right? Like just being born. Yeah, so again, like this backs up the part of the message of when I was discussing in the intro about like looking back on past events that have happened, examining the details, about times when, you know, as you're working through this like self-forgiveness or forgiveness with others, you're like looking back on times when you know, didn't hold yourself in high regard or let your boundaries slide, like that kind of thing. But don't get stuck there, right? That was another thing I was saying, like, don't get stuck there because there's no one really there. These ghost lands. See how there's this clock behind? And it's like, when you keep looking at things from the past or re-examining them over and over or thinking too much ahead of the future, you lose sense of the present, which is the most important. It's all that really is. For for this timeline that you're in now, okay? I don't want to get into the talk about linear time for the sake of this reading, since that's not what I'm focusing on. But this is backing up the message of like, it's good to go through that process, but don't get stuck there. That's what this is confirming. Don't get stuck there, looking in the details from the past or the future too much, okay? That's also what this is saying. Don't get stuck there, looking at the past or the future. And then Bone Collector, yeah. So Bone Collector has like all the resources around her. It's like, it is a card of manifestation. It's a card of the Ancient One. Okay, so you're definitely being guided. So pay attention to things around you, seeing them for as they are, but also how I was saying about how there's this like almost obsession with truth and not accepting anything less than it, where in regard to like your connections, right? The Bone Collector is all about authenticity. That's like actually the literal meaning of this card. Authenticity. And that's what you are craving in your connections. I don't necessarily see this as like, oh, happy family riding off into this sunset under a rainbow. That may be the case for some of you. I see this more as just like close connection, okay? Because these are both in the overall energy at the bottom of the deck. Authenticity and truth in regard to your connections. This is what you guys, one of the main like themes that is occurring for this collective at this time, and not accepting anything less than that. Closing out anything that doesn't have to do with that, okay? So I wanted to pull a Starseed Oracle just because I know some of you guys resonate as Starseeds here. Activated Earth. Power, places, ley lines, trust where you're led. Yeah, so this is like surrendering to divine flow, but also trusting, but also I'm drawn to the word power. This card also, you know, indicates a very grounded energy, which is helpful for getting out of this like details from the past or the future, okay? But just power. I'm so powerful, right? And double mission, Lightworker Starseed, serve the world by being you, again with that authenticity and truth. And that is where that is your superpower, your truth, okay? All right, so Earth pulsing, pulse of the mother, slow down, time in nature. That will help with grounding if you're having difficulty, you know, being present. But also slow down, okay? Sometimes there's this rush to like, oh, I have to heal this. It's like, it's a process. So go at your own pace. This is just a gentle reminder, go at your own pace. You don't have to feel rushed to do anything. You don't have to feel rushed to make a decision that you're not ready to make. Remember why you're doing this. Your self-actualization journey is for you, okay? Big picture thinking, Pleiades energy, visionary, inspired ideas. So that's that creative type energy, that manifestation energy. This also, Pleiades energy also has to do with connections, particularly in the home environment, okay? The closest connections in the home environment. Let me pull a spirit. Yeah, Bat Spirit, a rebirth is assured. This is like transformative energy, and I feel like a lot of you guys went through like a breakthrough recently. Again, it's like that, as I was discussing in the intro, like you have more clarity than the last collective video I did. Some bubbles of self-deceit have burst, and you're kind of seeing the bigger picture, okay? Seeing the bigger picture. I feel like you guys had a breakthrough in that regard, and it's helped you progress down your path more. And then Peacock Spirit, let it shine. Yeah, that's that authenticity and truth, particularly from the heart space, okay? I'm so powerful, right? That manifestation energy from acting in alignment with your heart space. That was part of the transformation. There's always enough, Quifish spirit. So there may be a sense of lack. There's always enough, okay? There's always enough. Release the feeling of lack. And then Armadillo spirit, set healthy boundaries. So this is what I was talking about looking at times when you may have let your boundaries slide in the past, either due to like settling, low self-worth, or just, you know, kind of a sense of apathy, like whatever. This is a reminder just to have those healthy boundaries. Okay, that is standing in your truth, okay? Or you may have like had fear, because this card was under this one, goblins, which indicates like fear and how it's an illusion. That also may be like, there may be some underlying fear of telling people no. If you're worried about, you know, what will happen when you set these healthy boundaries. But I can tell you that if you set a healthy boundary that is not respected, that individual is not a healthy connection, okay? All right, but it does require coming from this authentic place. Again, make sure the boundary is from an authentic place. If it's like a healthy one, there's no way that anyone in your soul family or anyone that's meant to be on your path in terms of like your soul family, right? There's no way that they would disrespect that boundary intentionally ever. Ever. All right. Oh, I forgot to do the overall energy for this one. A new earth, it's happening. Keep holding the vision. This is part of the bigger picture, okay? I'm so happy that this came up on the overall energy. This is what all of this is for, and it starts with you. It literally starts with you. Like, that's why I always tell you guys, the work that you're doing is so important, and I'm so grateful. It's part of the bigger picture, okay? The old systems are simply not going to work anymore for this, a new earth, all right? Don't get me started on that. I could do a whole nother video on that, so I'll just leave that there. Knight of Cups, yeah, wish fulfillment. Wish fulfillment, and also double energy, okay. So Capricorn energy, okay. This has to do with the attachments and those cycles that are ending to start, healthier cycles built in like what you see for yourself as like wish fulfillment. It does also require like releasing these unhealthy attachments in order for the omniverse to reciprocate this to you, okay? Also, what I was saying about almost being a little bit obsessed with truth, that's also what this is saying, because the Devil card can indicate like obsession. So try to be a little bit cautious with that. Like, yes, accept truth and want that. It is unrealistic to have that in every single connection of your life. So just, and I may get some pushback on that, but it's true. It's like, think of it this way, like, I'm not going to go and tell my coworkers that I opened up a time wormhole in between patients. Like, there just doesn't need to be that much, you know what I'm saying? So it's not that deep what I just said. I'm just indicating, like, just be cautious about where you're demanding this truth, and nothing but it, right? Like, make sure it's in alignment with what really matters to you, and like what are you trying to change, achieve, or pursue. All right, there's some instances where it's not going to matter, is basically what I'm saying. This is also a cautionary message about alcohol, okay? Nine of Cups can indicate some heavy drinking, and that may be something that you're trying to work on at this time. That part's likely not for everyone, but that's a side message coming through. Yeah, the recommendation is to try to leave that behind, okay? But also, as I was saying about like this obsession with truth, right? Just head towards peaceful waters. Like, sometimes when truth is communicated, it's also how you say it, right? Or how it's delivered that can cause it to become an issue, you know? Like if someone's like, hey, do I look fat in this outfit? Are you gonna be like, yeah, you look horrible, change it? No. It's like, just be cautious about, you know, that's just a side message. Be cautious with that. That was just a really crude example, okay? Apply it how it resonates to your life. All right. Yeah, Queen of Cups. So, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces energy. As I was saying in the recent past, this like bubble of self-deception burst, okay? So things are like more clear now. The Queen of Cups is very intuitive, very loving. So it's like your intuition was upgraded, okay? Since the last reading. It's still subtle, but things are more clear than they were the last time I did a video for you guys, okay? Yeah, Ace of Cups. So this is about unconditional love for self primarily. And I feel like this, if you remember my intro, like I was saying, you guys watching the growth and like being able to witness that has been astonishing. So it's like watching your guys' cups fill up and overflow. Okay, this has been a huge like shift that I've seen and felt with you guys. That has been excellent, but also focusing on this, right? Focusing on this, on self-forgiveness in particular is what I believe I was discussing. Yeah. Self-forgiveness, right? So it's like helping to clear some of that out from the past so that you can fill your cup up more. All right. Justice. Yeah. So Libra energy, balancing the scales. This is in the heart of the reading. So it's also about like what I was talking about things being reflected externally, how they are internally. It's that justice, that balance. That justice, that balance. But also seeing things clearly, or more clear. That's been a recurrent theme too. So there may need to be a decision that needs to be made about what way to go, and you're kind of evaluating this at this time. But also justice being brought to things that may have happened in the past, okay, or thinking too much about the future. There needs to be a balance in regard to this, so you're not just kind of like sitting there looking back and forward. Yeah, Seven of Swords. See how he's looking, he's like heading one way and looking the other way. This is what I was talking about, kind of that like mismatch, right? Seven of Swords is like about escaping or some deception of some type. So actually he's looking away from the details. So there may be some details that you're not wanting to look at, and there may be others that you're focusing on. But the swords represent the mind, so you're stuck up in the mind a lot. I can tell by this reading. An underlying message is like not wanting to see things as they are. Okay, so again, that's still like an underlying message. It's better, but it's still like an underlying message. Okay, but also escapism. So be cautious with that because alcohol did come up. So that's just a little side cautionary message. Yeah. This may also be about things that happened in the past of like, if you were lied to or deceived, it kind of clouds your vision. See how again we have this card coming up in this reading, and here the magnifying glass is like clarity upside down. There may have been some deception in the past that happened in some circumstances that you were involved in. Okay, I don't know if it was like another person to you or whatever the case. This is clouding some things going forward. This is clouding some things going forward. So try to be aware of that and not let past circumstances surrounding deception limit your ability to make important decisions in your life for you. All right. Yeah, that's how you'll be victorious. Six of Wands is like victory and success. So that's how you'll be victorious, okay? Not letting the ghost lands of the past or the future and being present, or letting ego, the shadow side of the Six of Wands card is ego. So not letting that get in the way and causing this like things are frozen over, right? It's like there's no action or movement. This is the way to be victorious in this regard, is to get out of the ghost lands and not let things that happened from the past in regard to deception or deceptive circumstances that you were in to interfere with your ability to be present and be victorious in the present going forward, right? Yeah, Nine of Wands. You guys are so determined to overcome these. That's what I was saying, like, I love that this came up as the overall energy for this, because like even just in my intro where I was talking about how you guys are like, you know, just it's so awesome to be a part of this group and like see what's going on with you guys. This is like determined to overcome the obstacles, and that's totally you guys, and that's why I appreciate you. So I'm happy that this came up for the overall energy. It's like still a little beat up, right? Beat up, has gone through all these things behind him, all these obstacles, still has some to go, right? There's still something that he's hanging on to, but like getting there, progressing, and determined to do so. It's like wands represent that passionate energy, right? That fire. So I love that. So yeah, just some things to remember about setting healthy boundaries, okay? Forgiving yourself for times in the past where there may have been some like deceptive or trickery or deceptiveness or trickery towards you, or even like your own self-deceit about not maintaining your boundaries and feeling less than positive about that now. So self-forgiveness, right? Just remember that this is your cup, and how full it is depends on you. But you guys are like definitely learning like unconditional love for self first and foremost, and that's where it'll branch out into your connections and into the world for New Earth, okay? But you guys are like fighters in the best way. That's what this, you guys are fighters in the best way. Just another little cautionary message, don't be too much up in your head, okay? This Eight of Swords energy that caused you to kind of not be able to make decisions based on details that happened in the past or thinking too much about the future. Because the Eight of Swords is also like kind of deceptive energy, because she's in this self-imposed prison, but she has the tools to free herself at any time if she would just take off the blindfold. But I feel like you guys are getting better and like more balanced in this regard, okay? All right, you guys, I hope that helped. That was a neat reading. We'll check in again in 2 weeks, and I'll probably do like an energy check-in next week just to see what's going on. But I hope you guys have a great week, and yeah, talk to you next time. Bye.